welcome back to the channel. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Jesse Tang. I'm the fleet manager at Royalty Exotic Cars, and today I got a special treat for you guys. 2018 Lamborghini Huracan Spider, and today we're gonna do an oil change. So I'm gonna walk you guys through the steps, and let's get to work. All right, so I got here, long 3/8 ratchet, couple extensions, swivel head, and a special little snap-on socket I got just for the oil filter. So if you wanna follow me, the oil filter is on a Spider, is right back here, dead in the center. So kind of gotta play with it a little bit. That's why I got some extensions. I got a long ratchet so I could get some leverage and pop loose. Once I pop it loose, undo it by hand, we'll pull it out. Step one, complete. Filter's out, you can tell it's dirty, it's used. We're gonna have to replace that. O-ring still looks okay, but we're gonna replace that anyways. We're gonna let this drain out. We're gonna let the filter cap drain out, and then we're gonna lift the car up, and we're gonna start pulling some panels off. Alright guys, car is in the air, lift secured. So to start draining the oil, you got a panel here, and there's another aluminum panel that's under here. So once we remove all the panels and expose everything, we're gonna start draining the oils, and there's about 8 drain plugs on this car. Alright guys, the tedious stuff is all the way. Those panels, like 50 bolts over there, finally gone. Now it's the fun part. So I'm gonna point out every drain plug that's on this car. You got 1 drain plug right here, 2, 3, you got 4, number 5, number 6, and there's 2 more over here. If you wanna come over here, it's a little bit harder to see. But number 7 on the line, and 1 way up there. I want to kind of get a little bit of angle. There's 1 right up there, another oil line. Okay. So 8 total drain plugs. I'm gonna crack them all loose one by one. Got to make sure the crush seals come out because sometimes they get lost up there or they get stuck and they fall on the drain pan. So we're gonna get this one loose first. The T30. You break this loose. That'd be the first drain plug. As you can tell, most of the oil is on its way out already from this part of the motor. This is the engine here, and the oil system on this car is a little bit more sophisticated than a normal car because oil is so big, there's a lot of oil in the car, and oil gets caught at different areas of the car. So this plug here, you only get maybe half a quart at the most, same with this plug here, but this plug right here, we probably got about 4 or 5 quarts on this main plug here. The engine's so big that they've built little, I would say, pockets or galleys, and you're not able to drain it just from one plug, so you have to drain from different sides. I always let the car drain until it starts dripping. So this is one of the last ones where we're streaming for a while, but it's starting to drip now. So first of all, I'm gonna wipe each section down, and the reason why I wipe it because sometimes the seals get stuck on the threads itself. So you gotta make sure you put a new seal on every plug here. This one's getting a new one right here. Because if you don't replace it and it gets stuck there and you tighten it back up, it might not seal properly and you will get a leak. And when you got a leak on one of these cars, it's a lot more work to put the car back on the lift and drop the panels and check everything just to fix a quick leak. just because you forgot to check the seal or didn't replace the seal. So I'm wiping it down here. Here, oh, I got one right here. This one's stuck. So get a little pick here. I'm gonna pop it. And here you go. One didn't come off. So that's why I always check everything, because kind of an expensive car to kind of mess up. So we don't want to mess up. So I'm gonna wipe all these down. Double check this here real second. That one looks good. This one's good, and obviously that one right there has the seal on the bolt. Right, so I plugged those back in. I'm gonna torque these bolts down. So what I normally do, especially with these small ones, I use a smaller ratchet here, just because the leverage is a lot less and you can't really over torque it. So with all these crush seals, and we don't want to expand the crush seal, because if you over tighten it, it can expand the crush seal or break them, and it won't seal properly. So what I do is I like to turn it when it gets tight. And then once I feel that it's tight, I do a quarter turn. And that's it. Once I do a quarter turn, then I know it's tight. I didn't mess up the crush seals. And out of all the oil changes I've done so far, I haven't had one leak. So for me, it works. I got all the plugs in the front half done. I like to mark everything so I don't forget and be like, hey, did I forget to mark it? So all the drain plugs here got brand new seals. So I'm gonna mark each and every one of them. So I know that I'm done, because we don't want to forget but if I did it or not, I didn't have to go back and waste the seal for no reason. Panels back in, plugs are in, everything's checked, everything's good to go. I got a brand new filter right here. It's gonna go back in the car. Once that's done, we're gonna go back over there. And we're gonna measure exactly how much oil came out of this car, so we know what to do. No matter what I do, no matter what car I work on, when I change the oil, I always measure what comes out of it. Because you never know, especially working on these cars, they take different amounts of oil, and sometimes you get a little bit less, sometimes a little more. So I always double check my work just to cover my end so I don't mess up. So we're gonna measure it right now. All right, so this is 5 quarts oil in each one, and I'm gonna guess that we're gonna probably have about 9 quarts oil that comes out. So once I finish doing this, I'm gonna go grab my tub, add some new oil into the tub, and we're gonna put it in the car. So right here, this is where we get our oil. We use Redline 540. With the weather, the climate, and the heat out here in Vegas, this is what we kind of came with trial and error of different kind of oils we use. Redline so far has been the best, so we stick to it. We buy them by the barrel right here. So I always manually have to pump the oil out. Got my little tub down here is where I transfer all my oil. Try to be a little more environmental friendly so we don't have to buy a bunch of quarts at a time. And it's actually cheaper, so we buy them by the barrel. Once this is done, we're gonna walk back over to the Lambo. We're gonna add oil. And that's the last process of changing oil. All right, so this here holds 8 quarts of oil. As I measured earlier, we took 9 quarts out. So 8's gonna go back in, add 1 more quart in here. I'm gonna slowly put this in. We're not gonna just drain it into the tank fast. So I'm gonna open it about halfway and it'll just take its time going in there. It's probably gonna take a couple minutes for that to empty out here. Once I add the last quart, which is 9 quarts, it's just 8 plus 1 more is 9 quarts. Start the car up. We're gonna let it sit and warm up. Let it get to operating temperature, and once that happens, we're gonna double check the oil again. But this is the original oil cap and dipstick. Lamborghini has a dipstick, which I'm so grateful of. It makes things a lot easier so we can check it. But after that, we're gonna go for a test drive, make sure the car runs and drives like it's supposed to be.
Take 'em.